Hello and welcome to my review of Monster Hunter Wilds. I feel like after making 75% of the weapons in the entire game and having 370 hours in the game, I can give a for sure opinion on how I feel. As for what I played on PS5 prioritizing resolution, and my frame rate was 30 FPS capped. But so far, the only issue I have ever gotten was a few lobby disconnects, and one time after fighting New Udra, the textures of the people of Azuz were pretty bad. Other than that, I haven't had a whole lot of issues. I've had 2 game crashes, but that was only before Title Update 1. After it came out, I have had no issues at all, really. As for the story, I think it's okay. I liked it more than World, as it was more about the land than just Elder Dragons, and it added a whole lot more lore to the world of Monster Hunter. And for if you don't know the story, I set up a very quick and brief recap of it. The game starts you off on a sand ship before you notice about 24 Balahara chasing a little girl, so you hop off the ship to save her. She tells you that her brother sent her out of the cave because of a monster, which is the worst thing he could have done, so you head into the cave and slay Chotacabra as the first monster you hunt in Wilds. Getting the base camp set up, you notice the support team hasn't arrived yet, so you go out and see them getting harassed by a Chemitrice, so you go out and hunt it. You then go into an investigation on why Doshagama are visiting the Windward Plains from the Scarlet Forest and get sidetracked by a Lalabrina that you are then given permission to slay. After, you have to make friends with the Woodwoods to be allowed in the Scarlet Forest, and they just want fur from a Kongolala. So you hunt the Kongolala and notice a pack of Doshagama heading towards the Windward Plains. So you head back to Kunafa Village, and you need to go see their Secretary of Defense, who's getting also attacked by about 20 Balahar. So you go save him and end up falling into a hole. Inside of the hole, a Balahar meets you down there, and about the other 15 completely disappear from the map at all. So Balahar is now a solo monster instead of a pack. Then the Doshagama pack that you saw in Scarlet Forest finally show up at the village. You lead them out using their livestock, and you separate the alpha from the pack and hunt it. You head back to the Scarlet Forest to continue investigating the Right Wraith, and Olivia sends out an SOS flare to repel an Uthduna, who then gets killed by the Right Wraith before it flies away. You get the feeling that it went deeper into the Forbidden Lands, so you head deeper towards the Oilwell Basin, and go to save a girl from a Rompopolo before figuring out the Right Wraith went towards the Windward Plains. You see it fighting Raidao as you arrive before it ends up draining all of Raidao's energy and leaving. Raidao gets revived by lightning, and you are authorized to hunt it. After the Wraith flies away, you look deeper into the Forbidden Lands and eventually find a Nucilla weathering up a Woodwood, so you save him. Looking even deeper, you discover Hirabami in some old ruins, so you make up base camp and decide to hunt one of the Hirabami to chase the others away. You head back to the basin, where the people of Azuz have lit up the forge, and 2 Adrarkon show up, so you, with Olivia, hunt them both. Returning to Azuz, 3 more Adrarkon show up before New Udra arrives and takes care of them. And just to protect Azuz, you hunt New Udra, who basically chills out at the bottom of the basin. Learning that New Udra melted some ice in the Ice Shard Cliffs, you go where he came from and discover a Guardian Doshiguma, and since it's aggressive, you need to hunt it. You meet Nada's uncle, Tashin, and before you can get really talking into story, a Guardian Rathalos shows up and attacks, so you hunt Guardian Rathalos to protect the village. Tashin welcomes you before he takes you deeper into Wyveria and show you where the Guardian monsters come from, before Arkveld shows up and starts to eat secrets that hatched, so you repel him. Looking for answers, Tashin tells you about a village outside of Wyveria, which is guarded by Jindahad, so you do a decently, 75% fight of Jindahad before you get to the village. You learn from the Alharkin that you need to go deeper into Wyveria, which is guarded by a sentry Guardian Ebony Odogaron, so you have to take care of him. Before a second cephalopod appears, eats the corpse of the Odogaron, and you have to then slay that to protect yourself. You eventually get deep enough to find Guardian Arkveld feasting on a bunch of secret corpses, so to keep it from gouging itself on Guardian corpses, you hunt it to protect Wyveria's ecosystem, before going all the way down to the Dragon Torch and fighting Xochia, so it doesn't break out full of energy to destroy all the people in the Forbidden Lands, and you don't have to destroy the Dragon Torch to destroy the ecosystems. Afterwards, more energy is sent through the ecosystems of the Forbidden Lands, and new monsters like a horde of Kutku show up. So in the only capture quest, you have to capture a Kutku. After the Kutku, the team decides that you research more into the locales of the Forbidden Lands, see what new monsters show up, and you soon discover that Frenzied Nerscylla, Kutku, and other monsters only exclusive to the Ice Shard Cliffs appear, so now you're also investigating the Frenzy along with the locales. Eventually, all of the locales are stuck in their inclemency, so you need to go out and hunt all of the apexes to protect the residents of each locale. Rove is eventually found to be inflicted by the Frenzy virus, so you head out into the Ice Shard Cliffs to find Gormagala so you can make a cure to the Rove and also the infected Dragon Torch. Eric, Olivia's handler, has a theory that if there are any Arkveld still out, that the Frenzy virus that were causing Apex monsters to go crazy during the inclemency could also get technically frenzied via absorbing their elemental energy. So you head to the Windgasp and see Raidou and Arkveld going at it again. Arkveld takes out Raidou before you finally get your one-on-one with a full-powered Arkveld. As for the roster of Wilds, it did do better in adding new monsters than World did. World had 18 new monsters with 12 returning, while Wilds had 20 new monsters with 9 returning, though technically 3 of them were kind of duplicates, so take them as you will. Taking a look at the rosters of each map, the Windward Plains has 5 monsters, with Doshagama being the pack monster, and then going up to 8 monsters in high rank. In the Scarlet Forest, it only starts off with 4 monsters in low rank, before going up to 9 monsters, with Yan Kutku being the pack monster in high rank, and Mizutsune being added in Title Update 1. The Orielwell Basin in low rank only has 3 monsters, with Ajarakan not being a pack monster, and going into high rank, it goes up all the way to 9, matching the Scarlet Forest in Title Update 1, but with still no pack monsters. The Ice Shard Cliffs in low rank is 3 as well, Jindahad being a one-time fight, Hirobami being the pack monster. In high rank, it goes up to 8, with Jindahad being fightable in its own arena. For the Runes of Wyveria, they have 6 monsters in low rank, with Xochia and Guardian Arkveld being a one-time fight. In high rank, it gets a ton of tempered monsters to make its total 19 after Title Update 1. Let's go over the roster. First up, get rid of Guardian Arkveld. He is only a one-time fight for story. Maybe we get an event quest later on. For the first 4 monsters, all great. Chadakavra is great to test weapons on. Chemitrice adds a little bit of spice with the fire. Lalabruna teaches people about positioning. And Congalala teaches about multiple ailments and how monsters can interact with their environment. Balahara was shown multiple times in-game that it is a pack monster, yet we never fight it as a pack. Doshagama is really just, it only has a pack in the desert, and that's it. It doesn't have the pack in the forest. The next 5 are all great as well. Uthduna I felt could have had a bit more to its fight, but I grew to like it more. Arch-Tempered Raidao is pretty challenging, even though it's only a 3-star strength. Ajarkon's the same as Balahar, packs and cutscenes, but in-game it's a solo fight. New Udra is my favorite monster to come out of Wilds. Guardian, Doshagama, and Rathalos both feel like unique fights as variants from their counterparts. Jindahad is my least favorite, as it's just a bunch of ice AoE attacks to freeze you in place to hit you again. While Ebony and Fulgur Guardians, there's no explanation why they're here in the Forbidden Lands without their original variants. The rest are all great. The returning monsters have amazing movesets compared to their old-gen counterparts. Zuru, I don't care how you pronounce it, is a great difference from New Udra being fast. Zoshia is a great final boss that has its own unique gimmick that makes the fight even more fun. And Arkveld is a slow but heavy hitter, and is okay for our flagship monster of Wilds. The Windward Plains, I feel like, is a perfect desert map. It looks great during all the weather events, it looks great during all times of day. The only issues I have with it is mainly the roster. Doshagama is the only pack monster, and they only appear here. It's also the only mid-tier monster, with everything being a lower tier monster or being Raidao and Arkveld for the Apex monsters. Otherwise, great map. The Scarlet Forest is easily my favorite map. I like it during all the weather events, although the downpour is pretty limiting to your vision, but I still like it. The roster is pretty good as well, giving you a good bit of low, medium, and with Mizutsune coming in, Apex tier monsters. I really do not have any issues with the Scarlet Forest at all, unlike the other maps which I have at least one complaint about. I also like the Oriowell Basin. My only complaint really being is that the bottom of the basin looks the exact same basically during any weather event. But in high rank, it adds in a few low tier monsters, that adds in a few high tier monsters. But I do feel like it's just missing a little bit on the Apex monsters. The Ice Shard Cliffs are easily my least favorite map, as they are less of a snow map and more of a cave map. Out of its roster, only Hirobami, Jindahad, and Blagonga feel like snow monsters. Kutku shouldn't be there at all, and everything else is basically a cave monster, not really needing the snow to even exist. But other than the roster, it's pretty to look at, just not a great snow map. The Ruins of Barbaria is also a pretty bad map. It's pretty to look at, but like the weather events and the time of day doesn't matter at all, other than at the top 3 areas. It does have a unique way of bringing Guardian monsters in, but overall, the roster is pretty good, even though other than Guardians, everything else is a tempered monster and only appears in high rank. The Gathering Hub introduced in Title Update 1 is great, especially with the new seasonal events. My only issue is, at the beginning, it didn't really add anything new to condensing the villages. Hopefully we get unique village features added to the Gathering Hub later on. Overall, the maps and monsters are all pretty decent, just maybe balance out the levels of strength in each of the locales, and maybe add something for larger monsters. But that's all I got to say about those two subjects. As for weapons, I have almost all the weapons fully complete. I am currently working on Longsword and Sword and Shield, and I have little experience with Switch Axe and Insect Glaive. With Greatsword, being able to quick block after almost every attack, it feels great. It makes blocking with Greatsword much more valuable. And having the True Charge Slash only being powered up by the first hit of it makes the first two charge attacks much more valuable than they were in Iceborne, where True Charge Slash was the go-to. The Focus Strike is one of the best, as it is the best follow-up for the True Charge Slash. It has multiple hits and great range to close wounds whenever they pop up. The Longsword, they haven't done much. They tightened up the counter, and they allow you to sheath during the Helm Splitter instead of attack. The biggest thing that they changed was in red, you attack much more frequent and have a much larger counter window, instead of in past games where red just meant Helm Splitter immediately. For the Focus Strike, I am mixed. It does level up your sword gauge by one color, but it has about medium range and only 2 hits to hit the wound, so it's decent, but not the best. The Sword and Shield actually surprised me when I picked it up. It has basically the best mobility out of every single weapon in the game. It has multiple evasion options, and the Focus Strikes come in 2 different attacks, a quick slice down and a sword hit up into the air to combo into aerial attacks. Dual Blades, which is my main weapon of choice, hasn't really changed much. The Demon Dance has changed to use up the gauge, but you can swap in and out of Demon mode for mobility options. The Focus Strike, I do wish we had a button option to focus on where the wound was, instead of immediately being launched into going down the spine of the monster. The hammer is good, but I feel like it's on more of the weaker side, as it lost the charge mode that it got in World and Iceborne. It got a free evade while it charges, and it is now a combo machine, so you can deal a lot of damage within just a few seconds with it, which is very good. But the Focus Strike is absolute garbage. It's a swing from right to left. It only hits twice, so if the wound is not on the right side of the monster when you swing, you ain't hitting it. You're probably going to get hit with how much recovery is on the end of the wound attack if you don't hit. Hunting Horn, I am very glad that they stepped away from Rise and Sunbreak Hunting Horn and went back to World and Iceborne. The Hunting Horn has multiple melodies again, and it did get a damage boost. The Echo Wave bubbles now have pretty wide range, good effects, and deals decent damage hitting the wound if the wound is in the Echo Wave bubbles effect range. The Focus Strike is decent. It's if you time 5 note plays perfectly, it deals a little bit extra damage, though I can't really tell how much. The Lance feels very similar to how it was in Iceborne, which is completely different than how it was in the beta. It's very defensive, very counter focused, and feels completely amazing to play with. The Focus Strike, even though it doesn't have much range, I feel like it has a great chance of actually hitting the wound, and it's a pretty quick attack with a quick recovery, so there's no issue there. And from my experience, the Focus Strike does open up even more wounds by the end of it if you manage to hit the monster. Gunlance, mobility is no longer an issue, and that's a good thing, as it has plenty of range and does pretty quick attacks now that it is in Wilds. The Focus Strike for Gunlance is not great. You can kind of hit it pretty easily with how much length you have and how many attacks there are, but it doesn't really feel like there's that much damage coming out of it. Switch Axe I haven't played much, but it feels like full release is the only way to go. Axe mode has basically no purpose anymore. Focus Strike is similar to Hammer. You string right to left and you have a good chance of not hitting, and if you can hit it, it's great, but it could be better. Charge Blade, I feel like, is on parallel ground to how it was in Iceborne. Savage Axe mode is now only able to get through a Focus Strike or a Perfect Guard Morph Slash, and is very good at opening wounds. As for the Focus Strike, it is probably one of the best in the game. It's 2 attacks up and down, amazing range, amazing distance, and it can deal a ton of damage, and it puts you in Savage Max mode, so it is probably the best Focus Strike in the game. Insect Glaive, I played more during the beta. It's decent. I haven't tried much of the offset, but as far as the offset goes, I feel like it hits pretty well as long as you're on the wound, and it does great by filling up your extracts and powering you up to the best level you can get. Light Bowgun, I feel, has fallen off a cliff. Rapid Fire is now only exclusive to using the special gauge, and that's it. You only have one special ammo now, which is either mine or adhesive ammo, and it takes a very long time for both of them to recharge. As for the Focus Strike, it can be good. It's a big AoE explosion, but those are also long recharge times, and if a monster moves, you're not hitting the wound, meaning you just wasted a shot. Heavy Bowgun probably got the best buff out of all the weapons, having shields on every single one of its bowguns. As for ammo, I don't really have that much to say. It's similar to Light Bowgun, just you deal a little bit more damage and you only have one special ammo. As for the Focus Strike, it's 3 shots as well, but instead of exploding whenever it hits the monster, it can pierce through the monster to hit a wound, and it's pretty decent. Just the recharge time on the ammo is too long, especially if you can open up a ton of wounds on the monster. Bow was my secondary weapon for my playthrough, and I very much enjoyed it. The perfect dodge wasn't guaranteed to fill up your stamina all the time. I didn't really use much of the tracer shots as they weren't really too great. Good for monsters that move around a little bit, but not a lot. The pierce coatings were phenomenal for opening up wounds, but when it comes to status ailments, I feel like status bows are absolute garbage and you should never go with it, and blast is probably the only ailment you should go with bow. Because if you go with status on bow, the normal damage is probably terrible. As for the Focus Strike, it's good. It auto locks on to the first wound and any aerial shot flares that you got on the monster, hitting other wounds over time, and ends up with a Dragon Piercer. Great for knocking monsters out of the air. As for my rating for Monster Hunter Wilds, putting Monster Hunter World at base game 5 out of 10, with anything below 5 being worse than base world, anything above 5 being better. I expected Wilds to be a 7 out of 10, and honestly, that's how I feel that we got. With the improved monster counts that Wilds brings to the table, along with the types of fights and improvements to returning monsters, I rate Monster Hunter Wilds a 8 out of 10.